Mysterious messages come in many different forms. Whether they be romantic messages, directions to a treasure, or words of wisdom from the past, or other identifiable forms of communication, mysterious messages are always intriguing. Whatever form they take, mysterious messages offer a sense of wonder, hope, and sometimes even excitement or danger. Let's take a look at some of the most fascinating mysterious messages that we've found. British soldier. In 1914, British World War I soldier Private Thomas Hughes wrote a letter to his wife. Instead of sending it in the mail, he sealed it inside a ginger ale bottle and threw it into the English Channel. 2 days later, he died fighting in France. 85 years after his death, a fisherman found the bottle in the River Thames outside of London. The recipient of the letter, Mrs. Hughes, sadly, had passed away 20 years prior to the bottle having been found. However, the couple's 86-year-old daughter was still living. She was only 1 year old when her father perished. The message in a bottle was delivered to her in her home in New Zealand, which read, "Dear wife, I am writing this note on this boat and dropping it into the sea just to see if it will reach you. If it does, sign the envelope on the right-hand bottom corner where it says receipt. Put the date and hour of receipt and your name where it says signature and look after it well. Ta-ta, sweet, for the present, your hubby." Also attached was a covering note intended for the finder of the bottle. "Sir or madam, youth or maid, would you kindly forward the enclosed letter and earn the blessing of a poor British soldier on his way to the front this 9th day of September, 1914, signed Private T. Hughes, 2nd Durham Light Infantry, 3rd Army Corps Expeditionary Force." 2 days later, after he had written the note, he was mortally wounded in battle. Radio signal from space. A mysterious radio signal coming from outer space was detected in August 2018. Scientists cannot identify where these short bursts of radio waves were coming from, but they know it's from beyond the Milky Way galaxy. Fast radio bursts, known to astronomers as FRBs, last just thousandths of a second. They were first discovered in 2007, coming from a galaxy 3 billion light-years from Earth, but their exact origins are still unknown. In early 2019, astronomers announced that they were close to determining the sources of these radio bursts, suggesting they come from an unknown environment with an extremely high magnetic field and high temperatures. Voynich manuscript. An ancient manuscript is stored in the deep depths of Yale University's Rare Book and Manuscript Library in New Haven, Connecticut. Known as the Voynich manuscript, this illustrated, handwritten mysterious text is an unknown writing system and an unknown language. The manuscript is written on vellum, calfskin, and dates back to the 15th century. The text is written left to right, and most pages have illustrations or diagrams. Some pages are missing from the text, but there are about 240 pages remaining, some of which fold outward, revealing more illustrations inside. The illustrations are divided into 6 subjects and suggest that the text relates to medicine or health science. The sections are herbal, astronomical, biological, cosmological, pharmaceutical, and recipes. The Voynich manuscript, named after a book dealer who purchased it in 1912, has been studied by many linguists, cryptographers, codebreakers, and even artificial intelligence. No one has been able to decipher the text, and the mystery of the meaning and origin of the text has been the subject of much speculation. Some experts suggest that Voynich himself had fabricated the manuscript. Like an antique book dealer, he would have the knowledge and means to do so. But other experts say that the carbon dating of the parchment makes a forgery virtually impossible. The manuscript remains the biggest unsolved mystery in cryptology history. The Society Hill Treasure Map. While researching a project at the Historical Society of Pennsylvania, historian Daniel Rolfe stumbled across a mysterious letter dated 1716, written about a buried treasure. The writer, from Jamaica, penned the letter to his brother in Philadelphia, giving a detailed description of the contents of a chest containing gold and silver coins of French, Spanish, and Mexican origin. The letter spelled out detailed directions on how to find the chest, which was buried in the Society Hill area of Philadelphia. The writer told his brother to find a specific house near a drawbridge on Cobblestone Street, walk 45 feet from the house's porch to find a stone post in the ground, and then dig 6 feet under the post to find the chest. He also wrote explicit instructions to burn the letter after reading it. No one knows if the treasure was ever found by the brother. If he did find it, why didn't he burn the letter as his brother instructed? Maybe the letter never found its intended reader, and maybe the treasure chest is still there. If anyone tried to unearth it today, they'd have a hard time identifying the house, as the given landmarks are all long gone, and the streets of Society Hill are paved and sidewalks are brick. Experts agree that even if the treasure chest was indeed still there, if it's ever found, it would be by accident. Message to Mom. In the early 2000s, a 10-year-old girl was visiting friends on Long Island. While walking along the beach, she scribbled a short message, sealed it up in a ginger ale bottle, and threw it into the Atlantic Ocean. About 8 years later, the young lady, Sidonie Frey, died tragically in an accident in Switzerland where she attended boarding school. A couple of years later, a FEMA disaster relief worker, Garrett Rivers, was cleaning up debris from Hurricane Sandy on the beach at Patchogue, Long Island, New York, and found the bottle. The message in the bottle read, "Be excellent to yourself, dude," and credited Bill and Ted. From the movie Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
No way!
There was also a phone number on the note. Rivers was intrigued and dialed the number. He spoke to Sidonie's mother, learned of her death, and made sure her mother received the message in the bottle. Her mother, Mimi Frey, said that her daughter was always telling her not to worry and that everything would be all right. Sidonie's message in a bottle reminds Mimi of that every day. Hit and run. A college league baseball player in Buffalo, New York, Andrew Sipowicz, returned to his red Ford Mustang after practice and found a badly dented driver's side door from a hit-and-run driver. But what's unusual about this hit-and-run is that tucked under the car's windshield wiper, Sipowicz found a note written by a child. The note explained exactly what happened to this car. The note said that the car was hit by a school bus, which immediately left the scene. The student indicated the exact number of the school bus, the exact time when the accident occurred, and that the school bus was driven by a woman. The note came complete with the child's rendering of what happened and a crude illustration of a school bus. The note was signed 6th Classroom of Houghton Academy School. Sipowicz was able to use the information to contact the school bus service company and reported what happened. The company covered the cost of the repairs and fired the driver. Sipowicz went a step further and tweeted his story with a photo of the note, looking to thank the child. And as a result, the school's principal rewarded the student for active citizenship. Her teacher gave her no homework over the Thanksgiving break, and Sipowicz's tweet got over 1 million likes. Paris Love Letter. Filmmaker Doug Bloch and his wife were celebrating their wedding anniversary in Paris in 2015. When Bloch opened up his old, tattered, second-hand guidebook that he had bought on the trip, an envelope fell out. The envelope contained a card addressed to Betty from a man named Henry. It was a passionate love letter, written on a card with a Monet painting on the front. Henry asked Betty to meet him at the Musée d'Orsay and said, "It is there, my love, that I hope you will find me." Bloch was so intrigued by the mysterious Betty and Henry that after he returned home to New York, he began a quest to find the couple and he documented the search on film. He tried to trace the origin of the guidebook. He hired a detective. He consulted a handwriting expert. He employed a psychic and filmed every step on his mission. Finding the two lovers is a long shot, and Bloch recognizes that. But the search, he says, is the heart of the film, and the appeal is in the fairy tale romance of the story. The Envelope Affair. 5 United States presidents and vice presidents and their wives each appeared to have received a mysterious envelope during the funeral and memorial service for President George H.W. Bush in Washington, D.C. The envelope appears to have been stuffed inside the event's program guide. Footage of the funeral service shows the Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bidens, and the Pences all finding envelopes inside their programs. Videos posted on YouTube dissect the recipient's reaction to the envelope, and a myriad of conspiracy theories have ensued. There is no information about what was inside the envelopes, but perhaps it is possible that there was nothing special, noteworthy, nor controversial about them at all. They could have just been part of the program. But the scuttlebutt on the internet would suggest otherwise. Vietnam Rescue. In 1979, a Los Angeles couple vacationing in Hawaii decided to have a little bit of fun by placing a note and some cash inside a wine bottle and tossing it into the Pacific Ocean from their cruise ship. The couple, Dorothy and John Peckham, wrote a short note with their post office box address and included $1 inside the bottle to provide postage to anyone who found it and might wish to write them back. 4 years later and 9,000 miles later, the bottle was found by a former Vietnamese soldier named Hoa Van Nguyen. He and his brother were floating off the coast of Thailand in an attempt to escape their miserable lives under the government oppression in Vietnam. After they found the bottle, they used the dollar to pay for postage to write to the Peckhams. After a pen-pal relationship developed between Nguyen and the Peckham family over the course of 2 years, the Peckhams helped Nguyen, his wife, and their baby begin a new life. The Peckhams sponsored the Nguyens to emigrate to the U.S. and help them set up in Los Angeles and find jobs. Now those jobs may not even be necessary because John Peckham secured an agent to represent Nguyen, with film producers eager to buy his incredible story. Half a bill. When Swedish boy Oliver Bergstrom was 11 years old, he found a Swedish 20-krone note that was ripped in half. Written on it was, "Meet me in 10 years at the pond, August 13, 2007 at 12 p.m. Oliver wondered for almost 10 years what the note meant and who had the other half. He had every intention to show up to the pond near his home on that date at that time to find out. On that date, he was excited to meet the person who had the other half of the bill at long last. After waiting at the spot for almost an hour, Oliver gave up and went home. He posted his story on Facebook, giving every detail leading up to the meeting, asking for anyone who could help him solve the mystery. His Facebook post was reposted over 4,000 times and received several hundred comments. Because of all that activity, the local news radio station interviewed Oliver. It so happened that a man named Timo Nikula heard the radio news and recognized his own story. It was he and his friends who had split the bill in half and set the meeting date 10 years prior. But sadly, his friend, Magnus Bergstrom, had died a few years after they made their pact. When Oliver heard the name Magnus Bergstrom, he froze. Magnus was his uncle. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we want to know which of these magical and mysterious messages is your favorite. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, click the subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.